The world is facing a hidden crisis: textile pollution. This issue is often overlooked, but its impact is profound and far-reaching. Every year, mountains of clothes end up in landfills, leaching harmful chemicals into the environment. These chemicals seep into the soil and groundwater, causing long-term damage to ecosystems and human health. The fashion industry, with its insatiable appetite for fast fashion, is a major contributor to this growing problem. Fast fashion encourages a throwaway culture where clothes are worn only a few times before being discarded. From the production of raw materials to the disposal of unwanted garments, the textile industry's impact on the planet is significant and detrimental. The production process itself is resource-intensive, consuming vast amounts of water and energy. The consequences of textile waste are far-reaching, affecting our ecosystems, our health, and our future. Wildlife is particularly vulnerable, as animals can ingest or become entangled in discarded textiles. The chemicals used in textile manufacturing pollute our waterways, harming marine life and jeopardizing human health. These pollutants can cause severe health issues, including cancer and reproductive problems. The sheer volume of discarded clothing is overwhelming landfills, creating environmental hazards and releasing greenhouse gases as they decompose. These gases contribute to climate change, exacerbating global warming and its associated impacts. The statistics are staggering. The sheer volume of discarded clothing is overwhelming, and it's a growing problem that demands our attention. Globally, we produce an estimated 92 million tons of textile waste annually, a figure that is hard to comprehend. This is equivalent to a garbage truck full of clothes being landfilled or burned every single second around the clock, without pause. This number is projected to skyrocket to 148 million tons by 2030 if current consumption patterns continue. The environmental impact of this is profound and far-reaching. The rise of fast fashion, characterized by cheap, trendy clothing with short lifespans, has exacerbated this issue. Fast fashion encourages a throwaway culture where clothes are seen as disposable. Consumers are buying more clothes than ever before, only to discard them after a few wears. This cycle of constant consumption and disposal is unsustainable. The average person now buys 60% more clothing items each year compared to 15 years ago, driven by the allure of new trends and low prices. However, they are keeping each garment for half as long, leading to a significant increase in textile waste. This trend highlights the urgent need for more sustainable practices in the fashion industry and among consumers. The environmental impact of textile production begins long before a garment reaches store shelves. The use of harmful chemicals in textile manufacturing is a major concern. Cotton, often touted as a natural and sustainable fiber, requires significant amounts of pesticides and fertilizers to grow, polluting water sources and harming biodiversity. Synthetic fabrics such as polyester, nylon, and acrylic are derived from petroleum, a finite fossil fuel. Their production requires energy-intensive processes and releases harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Moreover, these fabrics are treated with a cocktail of chemicals during the dyeing and finishing processes, many of which are toxic to human health and the environment. Textile manufacturing is a water-intensive industry, consuming vast amounts of fresh water for processes such as dyeing, washing, and treating fabrics. The wastewater discharged from textile factories is often laden with toxic chemicals, heavy metals, and dyes. These pollutants contaminate rivers, lakes, and oceans, poisoning aquatic life and disrupting delicate ecosystems. The excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides in cotton production also contributes to water pollution. These chemicals leach into groundwater and run off into nearby water bodies, contaminating drinking water sources and harming wildlife. The Aral Sea, once the world's fourth largest lake, has shrunk dramatically due to cotton farming, highlighting the devastating impact of textile production on water resources. Section 5, Microplastics, the invisible invaders. These tiny particles, often invisible to the naked eye, are becoming a pervasive threat to our ecosystems and health. Synthetic fabrics, while durable and versatile, pose a significant threat to the environment due to their non-biodegradable nature. These materials, commonly found in everyday clothing, are made from plastics like polyester, nylon, and acrylic. When washed, these fabrics release tiny plastic fibers, known as microplastics, into the water system. Each wash can release thousands of these fibers, which are then carried away with the wastewater. These microplastics are too small to be filtered out by wastewater treatment plants and end up in our rivers, lakes, and oceans. The inability of these plants to capture such minute particles means they flow freely into natural water bodies. Marine life often mistakes microplastics for food, leading to ingestion and entanglement. Fish, birds, and even larger marine mammals can suffer from the physical and chemical impacts of these pollutants. These microplastics can accumulate in the food chain, eventually reaching our plates. As smaller organisms consume these particles, they are passed up the food chain, concentrating in larger predators, including humans. The long-term consequences of microplastic pollution on human health are still being studied, but early research suggests potential risks to our endocrine, reproductive, and digestive systems. Scientists are working tirelessly to understand the full extent of these impacts, as microplastics have been found in human tissues and organs. Section 6. The human cost of fast fashion. The environmental consequences of textile pollution are undeniable, but the human cost of fast fashion is often overlooked. The industry relies heavily on cheap labor, with garment workers in developing countries often subjected to unsafe working conditions, low wages, and exploitation. The pursuit of ever cheaper production costs has led to a race to the bottom, with brands pressuring factories to meet unrealistic deadlines and cut corners on safety. The 2013 Rana Plaza collapse in Bangladesh, which killed over 1,100 garment workers, exposed the human cost of our insatiable appetite for cheap clothing. Section 7. Landfills overflowing. A looming crisis. The final destination for a majority of discarded clothing is landfills. Textile waste is a major contributor to the growing problem of overflowing landfills worldwide. As natural fibers decompose in landfills, they release methane, a potent greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. Synthetic fabrics, on the other hand, can take hundreds of years to decompose, leaching harmful chemicals into the soil and groundwater as they break down. The sheer volume of textile waste ending up in landfills is unsustainable and poses a significant environmental hazard. Section 8. Recloth Earth, a beacon of hope. While the statistics surrounding textile pollution can feel overwhelming, there is hope. Organizations like Recloth Earth are working tirelessly to address this crisis by promoting textile recycling and upcycling initiatives. By giving new life to discarded clothing and textiles, Recloth Earth is reducing the amount of textile waste ending up in landfills. Recloth Earth collects donated clothing and textiles and sorts them for reuse, recycling, and upcycling. Reusable items are cleaned and distributed to those in need, while unwearable textiles are transformed into new products, such as insulation, carpets, and even building materials. Section 9. Taking action, small steps, big impact. Every individual has a role to play in mitigating the textile waste crisis. By making conscious choices about our clothing consumption, we can reduce our environmental impact and contribute to a more sustainable future. Simple actions such as buying less, choosing sustainable fabrics, and extending the lifespan of our clothes can make a significant difference. Donating unwanted clothing to organizations like Recloth Earth is a powerful way to ensure that our discarded garments are given a second life. By supporting organizations working to reduce textile waste, we can contribute to a more circular and sustainable fashion industry. Section 10. Join the movement for a sustainable future. The fight against textile pollution is a collective effort. By raising awareness about the issue, supporting sustainable brands, and advocating for policy changes, we can create a more just and sustainable fashion industry. Our choices have the power to shape a better future for our planet and generations to come. Join the movement for a sustainable future. Donate your unwanted clothing to Recloth Earth and become a part of the solution. Your contributions, no matter how small, can make a world of difference. Mail in your donations today and be a part of the change.